I think my main concern, our constituency, the media, because we are not politicians, yet I see practitioners of our esteemed profession behaving like political newbies, kowtowing to subjects they want to report, rather than stay aloof and report, sometimes even with valid opinion when you're writing a column. Now, I think the media must be very, very careful in the way we respond to FFK and many others like him. Because I do not think he's a monster yet, but if he chooses to go that route, then the media should not help him become that. No self-respecting body of professionals would allow anyone, and I mean anyone, foreign, local, to come and talk down at their profession. So the question you're asking, funny enough, is exactly what the reporter that he launched out against asked him. Who is behind you? He still has not answered
exactly.
it.
That
He has
question
not
to
said
be answered.
nobody is behind me, because if he had said that, he could be telling a lie. So he kept quiet about that, and rather than answer, he just tried to wash the
Was the guy,
person down.
yes, to
Now-
intimidate him, really.
Yes, somebody was saying to me that perhaps the employers of FFK, the employers of that reporter.
Yeah, go on, please.
Someone was saying the employers of the reporter responded too late, that they should have responded within the hour, that they brought the video out but said nothing. And after other people who are not employers of the gentleman had said many things, they now came up with an editorial. But my response is this. In these days, the first thing an editor or a publisher wants to establish is your reporter above board on a certain issue. So maybe Daily Trust relaxed a bit to double check so that they don't go out and start talking at the young man or the gentleman who lashed out at their reporter, only to find that their reporter was culpable. Why do I say this? A lot of media houses, especially the owners of these media houses, know that they are not paying the practitioners well. Some even go the route of saying, I give you a meal ticket, how you milk it is totally left to you.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
It sure does.
That was, let me confess, that was said to him some years back, after he hadn't been paid for one whole year. But please go on. Yeah.
And so we have gotten to that point now as we respond as an industry to FFK and his ilk. The media has gotten to that point now where practitioners have to be well paid.
But I'm looking, the media issue is one, we'll try and take care of that. But I'm also interested in knowing what exactly is going on. These are the way these things develop. Okay? And a lot of the revelations that came out, like former wife and so on and so forth, and some things that other people do know, the people who know this gentleman quite well, out of being polite and everything, I don't want to go into it. It is important for us to know, to know what it is. The days are gone when the press, has to be neutral in political things. The press now, as at the time when Obama became I think it was Clinton, became president, the press had changed to opinion makers, where the press would have to make a stand on certain things. Now, this gentleman has a following of some sort. Everybody has a following of some sort. And I think that the press should sit down and examine with their eyes, especially on 2023, and guard against being used for what might turn out to be something very bad. This is the most polite way I can put it. But very soon, we will assemble our own people, sit and talk it out, and make sure that we are not used as instruments of doom, or else all of us will pay for it. All of us. If you see something coming, I think it is imperative for adults, interested parties, everybody to take an interest and say, yes, we cannot determine who will, but I mean, hey, we can begin to knock out those who we're sure will not. You know, and I'm not being a judge here, but what I'm saying is that as somebody whose job is analysis, and you can see things glaringly, okay, then you know that I'm trying to speak as much as possible in parables, but I'm sure you appreciate where I'm going. Well, we'll leave that for now, and let's go straight to the issue of the Celestial Church, which is why you're here. How is the Celestial Church run these days? Remember, we had this discussion about how many years ago?
About 4 years ago.
When you gave the history about how it started in such a casual manner, it was difficult for them to now organize themselves and go like they would say, go corporate. Has anything improved ever since?
Oh, yes, a lot has improved.
That's good to know.
I think a lot of people outside of the church, they are focused on the many factions they hear from. And so they think that the church is disorganized. But I can tell you that of all the factions, the main one that I think everybody is beginning to understand is the main one.
Which is the main one?
The main one is under Pastor EMF Oshofa. And it is main for many reasons. Main because he bears the same name as the founder of the church.
He's the son, right?
Yes, the first son.
Okay.
First surviving son. There was one before him, but now he's the first son. Then he controls all the significant assets of the church under his jurisdiction, pastoral jurisdiction, including the world headquarters in Imeko.
Under what mandate?
As the leader of the church.
Who? That's it. He became leader under what mandate? Was there an election? Or was there a selection?
Oh, yes. The constitution of the church provides for that. We're not talking the Supreme Court judgment, which is still hanging.
Oh, okay.
But the constitution of the church allows the church to appoint a successor as pastor based on spiritual proceedings. So under spiritual proceedings, he became pastor.
How do these spiritual proceedings take place?
The way the constitution spells it out is that it has to come by prophecy, which is our own corollary for how the Catholic Church bring up the Pope every time there is a need.
A prophecy from who? Does it state who from?
Well, in his own case,
anybody
no. In his own case,
Yes.
43, if I'm correct, 43 prophets came together about 18 years ago and gave a prophecy that a scion of the Oshofa household is the next to be made.
Does it have a
pastor.
tenure? Does he retire?
No, it's a lifetime thing. Unlike
so if he lives till 90, that so be it.
Good for him and the church, especially if he's still healthy at 90. Why not? His father died at 76, and he's about 71 plus now.
What about the other? I don't want to call them branches now.
There are other factions.
Other factions.
Yeah.
Are they still regarded as being part of the family?
Oh yes, and that's the beauty of the church, really.
Oh, everybody still dovetails into his own supremacy.
Not quite. Let's just say that there are about two other significant factions, in the sense that they also control good following, and I think they all respect each other.
That's a very diplomatic way to put it. The question is, do they dovetail to his supremacy? Because look, there's a business in the church. Nobody can fault that. Things like percentages going back to headquarters and so on and so forth. Does it happen in the case of these people?
No, what happens is that the parishes under certain pastors dovetail to the pastor. Yes.
So we have about 4 celestial churches. That's what you mean. 4 celestial branches.
We have one celestial church. We have factions of the church.
You have factions of the church.
Yes.
Any of the factions, are they registered independently?
Now, that's a matter of the law. It's a matter of the law, really. We have an outstanding Supreme Court judgment that came in the time of late Pastor Alexander Abiodun Bada. And as far as I know, that order still holds water over the church.
Now, do you belong to, which of the factions do you belong to?
That's an interesting one. I belong to all.
That means you're standing alone.
Not
You
quite.
can't belong to all.
No, I do. Let me tell you why. A lot of people have not heard this before.
Yes.
All right. About 18 years ago, I was offered membership of the pastor in council.
That's the highest body.
That's the highest body.
Yes.
And I turned it down. And I said, based on my choice to be neutral, so that I can preach the word to every faction of the church. Then a second faction of the church also offered me membership of their own MPIC. So naturally, I turned that down
MPIC is
too.
what now?
Member pastor in council.
Okay.
And I turned that down too. So that's what I mean by I belong to all. And it has worked for me.
I will catch you. the where do you pay the percentage? Because I know that when you're doing your things like your harvest,
I
and this and
speak
that,
as an individual, not as a church.
you don't. Do you wait?
Now, my mother church
Is
is
where?
Hallelujah Parish. That's where
Atepori?
I joined. Yes, that's why I joined the Celestial
All right.
Church.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah Parish is
Atepori,
under a lesser faction than the EMS faction.
which is the faction that Hallelujah Parish in Epori is under.
That's right.
Which
So that's-
faction? I don't say that's right now. What's named the faction? I mean,
The pastor they are under is Benny Omoge,
not Oshofa.
not EMS.
So
Oshofa.
by extraction, you are not under Oshofa too.
Well,
Yes.
you can draw that conclusion, and I will not say no to that. But the truth is that
Okay, what
every
conclusion?
faction
What conclusion do you draw?
concerning
What I just said.
my conclusion is this.
Yes.
If you ask any of the pastors,
Yes.
they will tell you I'm with them. I go to Imeko and I play a significant role.
Anybody can go anywhere, but definitely you would be under one. So what it means is that
I personally prefer to be under the main faction of the church.
that's under Oshofa.
That's right.
Okay, so now at least we know where you're by. No, not by.
You told me you will catch me.
I caught
So you caught me there.
I got it. I got you up there. Okay. Now, look, at the end of the day, you're talking here mainly about power and money.
Well,
Whichever way you look at it, the spiritual side is almost secondary. And I think part of the danger is where you rely on prophecy rather than strict guidelines as to how things should be done. Because prophecy, even in a traditional setup now, even Doban Difa now knows the color of money, and I'm not saying that's what's happening in that case. But don't you think that Celestial Church needs something that is a bit more specific as to succession?
You're speaking the mind of the Supreme Court judge that handed that judgment years
really?
ago.
So my mind,
Yes,
the
the
man,
church.
so
Yes,
I should be
honestly, that's one of the things we all respect about you when you're on air. You're very, very objective. You try very hard never to be emotional.
yes.
So one of the provisions of that judgment is that the church must go and do a proper constitution,
Yes.
especially as regards the funds of the church, how to manage it, and as regards the succession to the office of pastor and the roles of that pastor.
Because it's a lot of money.
Unfortunately for us as a church,
Yes.
we have not taken that seriously enough to overhaul our constitution.
Do you know that if care is not taken, a church as big as the Celestial Church could be cut out in the Karma Act?
Well, that's
It's a possibility.
There's a possibility of that. I think that a lot of churches may be caught out on the wrong side by Kama 2020, which we discussed last
week. And I think that in spite of the resistance and the reactions and whatever, the Kama is going to stay. The principle behind it is going to stay. It might be tweaked a little bit. And I hope those who have any quarrel with the law would listen to what Professor Oshiba just said. That, look, the only place to go is the National Assembly to get the law tweaked.
Which is very true.
But nobody is going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. People must get themselves properly organized. You're talking of people's money here, and it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of assets. Our phone lines are open now, 0700 993 993 993. I'll take about 2-3 calls, and then I'll take a commercial break, because when they talk about money, it also affects me. This commercial break, in case you don't know, that fuel that make my voice so clear. Yes. Can I please have that call? Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning, sir. Who's calling?
My name is Ndobisi Chukwu.
Morning, Mr. Ndobisi. How are you today, sir?
I'm very good.
Yes, sir.
And you? Well, I had your discussion about the Celestial Church of Christ. But, see, sir, I think the other day I had you when this judgment from the, the federal government said that the church have to be accounted, to be looking onto by some other bodies. I heard you saying that day that you are not a Christian. But it seems that you're always keen, very keen to talk about things about the church. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ndobisi, you got it completely wrong. And I plead with people to, if after the show you want to, get a feel of what has been said, you can go to YouTube. You can go to my blog, JimiDisu.com, to get a proper perspective. I can, I understand where he's coming from. They think that I always have an axe to grind. I said that I'm a Christian. I'm a member of the Anglican Church, but I grew up, in a Muslim background. So what that does, and why I keep stating that, is that it gives me
a balance,
a balance too. And I became a Christian not because I found anything wrong with Islam. I found absolutely nothing wrong with Islam. I just veered towards where God wanted me to go, and I think I need to thank my little daughter, who at the age of 2, 3, was one who tilted me in this direction.
Wow,
my second
that's a good one.
But Atitoshi was the one who did it, and I can make bold to say that it was out of laziness. When I was growing up, instead of, I used to go for lectures, yes. But the schools, the lessons that were organized for us to teach us about Islam concentrated more on teaching us Arabic than the religion itself.
Yeah.
And then, it's difficult to teach children a language if they don't. We spent half the time licking sweets and so on and so. Myself, Yori Falani and co. But that's a story for another day. I just needed to clear the air on that. So, since the premise of your reaction was wrong, we just dismiss everything.
Yes.
Let's take another call, please. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
How are you?
Fine, sir. You have just a minute, sir.
Okay. I want to talk about the Kama.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Please, you see, the Kama EU, the way what we advise, because in the first place, the Bible which the Christians believe in does not allow them to go to the conventional court to settle their disputes. So we have courts in the churches, and that is why you have the saying, my father, spiritual and temporal. So let any dispute in the church, let it be first of all addressed in the church. So government can try to monitor to see that we have high courts, appeal courts, Supreme Court in the church. So government can monitor to see that the right judgment is done. Then
Okay.
concerning the trustees,
Yes.
you see, if the church has conducted a kind of trial, the Christian Association, if the petitioner is still not satisfied, he can appeal.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. It's quite clear to me, sir, with all... I don't like to use the word with all due respect, because what it means is that you're about to say something unpleasant. But it's quite clear to me, sir, that you have not read that Karma law well. Yes, because if you read it, you will get a clear understanding of what it is. It is important, sir, to let you know that everything under the sun has to be regulated somewhat. You know, whether it's religious, first of all, the Karma law is not about religion. It's about non-profit, profitable organizations.
In fact, it's about all businesses and NGOs.
And that's that's the way it goes. So it's not peculiar to churches, or to mosques, and it must be regulated. We all must bow down to the Constitution, because it even says that give unto Caesar what is Caesar's.
Even the Bible recognizes in the book of Romans.
Yes.
Governments are installed by God.
I didn't even know that the book of Romans, the one that I always like to say is give unto Caesar what is Caesar and unto God what is God. We do have some tweets here. Somebody's commenting on a tweet. Yesterday I saw a video with some bishops, and that's what actually put me on full alert. I saw a video yesterday, some bishops praying for this gentleman, FFK, and also, I'm too scared to say it, prophesying that they hope that one day, if he is humble, he will become president. And I said, oh my God, this is coming from your fellow men of God. Yes, you can't run away from it there.
That's a box.
It's a box. I'm here to batch you. That's coming from there. And I found that a bit slightly embarrassing, and I don't know how you feel from men of God. I mean,
it happened in GHS time too. Men of God.
Not just men of God, even the Obas. But Yoruba people are very tricky. You know what they did to Jonathan? They use a walking stick to pray for him. If the Obas pray with the Rukere, they don't pray with walking stick. So they pointed the walking stick at him.
So they did better than the
Yoruba
men
people,
of God.
They're very smart. They just pointed the walking stick at him, and because the prayer wasn't...
Can I quickly say here that
yes.
I think men of God must remove themselves for the respectability of the church, must remove themselves from all this public endorsement of any politician.
Yes, I think it's but unfortunately the times we're in now, across the board, money is supreme. That's what poverty brings you. Money is supreme. I got to take a break. Okay, my controller here says I need to take a break. Gives me time to take water. Gives me time for you to gossip, for me to gossip with you for about a minute or two before we go back on air. It's the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu, brought to you by MTN. You're listening to Nigeria Info 99.3. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'll continue the discussion with Dr. Kunle Hamilton, so don't go away.
Don't touch that dial. Daily Digest returns in a moment. Welcome back. This is Daily Digest with Jimi Disu.
Yeah, you're welcome back to Daily Digest with Jimi Disu, brought to you by MTN. And of course, like I said, this is Nigeria Info 99.3. Do I call you pastor or prophet? Because I want to ask you.
I love the prophet part.
You like the prophet part? But what's your position in the Celestial Church as superior?
As a matter of fact, from my church, I'm most superior evangelist.
Most superior. That is one leg into becoming the superior. The superior is in Makoko. Okay, now there's been a bit of, with the Celestial Church, we could talk hours on end. But I'm not going to let you go without this problem of a gentleman called Genesis. Who is he? For the sake of this discussion, is he a pastor of a church or something?
He has a church called Genesis Global, Celestial Church of Christ, Genesis Global, somewhere in Alagbado area.
Yes.
He's a prophet. His real name is Oladele Ogundipe.
So a prophet has a nickname called Genesis. Where did that name come?
They call him Genesis by the name of his parish.
Because Genesis means the beginning.
That's right.
So is he a member of any of the factions? Because Genesis means I'm the beginning.
I believe that since he goes to Imeko often, I believe that he's placed himself under Pastor Yeme Fashofa.
Is Imeko open to anybody?
Or
you must be loyal to.
It's open to everybody.
So any of the factions can go have something to do with Imeko.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So what's the? I see a lot in the social media concerning him. The one that I recognize the most is the one he invited. What's his name? Wasiu, the Fuji band, to come play in the church.
Yeah, that was at his harvest of his church, I think last year, and
Yes.
it was a very, very sore point.
Is it a taboo? Is it because Wasiu is a Muslim?
No. There are protocols, spiritual protocols in Celestial Church.
Okay.
If you're not a Celestian and you're not robed in sutana, you have a limited area you can traverse inside a church. Well, in the case of Wasiu, he had to go all the way up front towards the altar.
That's the one they call
A lot of
Pepe.
Pepe. Yes, and a lot of Celestians naturally found that offensive.
Yes.
But for me,
Yes.
A church is a church, a mosque is a mosque. The question is, would a Christian singer be invited to the mosque to come and sing? The answer is no.
You're not sure?
I have not seen that done yet.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean...
So I think he crossed a line that a lot of people found offensive.
Now, look, listen. Is it because he sang secular music or because he's not a Christian or
No,
he's not a Celestian?
incidentally, I think some of the video I saw on that
Yes.
showed the tunes, Christian tunes played by his band boys, who I have found are also perhaps Celestians in his band.
Yes,
But that's not the only
but it was a
issue.
harvest.
That's not the only
Okay,
issue.
I need to clear something. If he hadn't been in the Pepe, if it had been in an open place, it wouldn't be so bad.
Maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah. It won't be so bad.
But he allowed him go
No,
into
he
a
is,
restricted
in his
area.
own case, he has many scenes other than just inviting.
What are the other things?
No. That's not what I'm going to do. I don't want to throw him under the bus or anything like that.
But let's put him at the bus stop at least. Can you give us one or two?
No, I wouldn't do that.
No,
What I will say-
wait.
You want to catch me again?
No, not catch you. I just want to extract. If you say there are other things, does it have to do with administration? Does it have to do with accountability?
No.
Does it have to do with the
character?
What's wrong with this character?
You're not going to catch me. No.
No, yes, neither do we
There-
want. We don't want
there's
any
a
libel.
lot. There's a lot on social media that puts the church in bad light regarding that gentleman.
So, do you think that would you worship there, for example?
I have preached there before.
You have?
So many years ago.
And you felt comfortable doing that?
And I took a decision I would not go back there again.
What was it you saw that make you?
You will not catch me.
Okay. Now, I wanted to say, God forbid that if you die, but one day we're all going to die. If you
True.
die, you don't even want your body driving past that place.
Okay, let me
okay.
put this. Let me put it this way.
Yes.
Personally, I think the gentleman is a humble guy, and I think he's creative in what he's doing. Unfortunately, so many allegations against his personal character in the media, social media, that cast aspersions on
the church,
on even him being qualified to lead a church, let alone show himself up as. Some people are asking the pastor to excommunicate him.
Really?
Is that bad?
But why?
But I have a personal opinion on this though.
Yeah, what's your personal opinion?
My personal opinion on this is that excommunication might be trying to kill a fly with a sledgehammer. I think the church, what is going through or what is being said about him is typical of what can happen to churches. For instance, there are churches dealing with a highly placed pastor in the church, caught on social media, doing sex for scores in a university. So there are
There's a
major
lot of that around.
embarrassments
Yeah.
concerning Catholic Church is dealing with theirs,
was
pedophiles and all of those.
Was he doing sex, just for the record, was he doing sex for anything, gratification?
I know that you're heavy on social media. You can just Google.
No, I don't go to those areas.
right.
You know, doing this job alone is you know the way it works.
Well, I think he should be pulled in and thoroughly dealt with, so that the church does not continue to suffer this
But
negatives.
look, I will not. I'm slightly unhappy about some of the other things I've seen on the social media. I've seen some girls dancing in church, what I would call lurid dances, and so on and so forth. I think don't you think that the church needs to redeem its image?
Which girls?
Some members of the church. I just saw the video somewhere. They were dancing. Right, in fact, they had one revival at the stadium, and music was going on, and some of the dances were not particularly pleasing to the eye. Not my eyes, anyway. But so
can you truly tell?
Yes.
Celestials dancing from CNS dancing on anybody else in white robes?
CNN. Which one? CNN.
CNS.
Which one? CNN.
Members of the Cherubim and Seraphim. Can
Of
you
course,
truly tell?
of course, yes. I mean,
Really?
give me a break. That's not an escape route for you. I think there's a
isn't.
need. It's not. I think there's a need. It's a youth thing. You know, so I'm not surprised. Even in some of the churches, I don't like dancing in church. Let me quickly say that.
Really?
Yes, I don't favor. I can understand singing praise songs and so on, but dancing, if it goes beyond a certain level, for me is completely unacceptable. But that's my own. So
you won't do Zanku, you won't do all those.
What is Zanku?
You don't even know. You see,
No.
you're a veteran.
I'm an old man. I agree, and that's why I find it very difficult to worship in Nigerian churches. We lose the essence. I believe that's my belief. Worship should be humble. Okay, even if you did want to do Thanksgiving, it should be done very quickly, and you don't go to
I
church.
think decency must.
Yes, decency must. But a lot, even in the Pentecostal churches, they throw caution to the winds.
Terrible, crazy dancing
Just
or
crazy
crazy.
dancing. I can't. I'm sorry. If other people
Dressing
want to
styles.
yes,
I
don't. And that's why I find going to church in England more. I'm not posing or anything, but I just find it more comfortable. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I'm out. Nobody is telling me each time to come out. Those who are born in April, those who are journalists, those who crossed the road before they came here, those who went to the Methodist Boys High School, those who did this, those and keep coming back and forth and throwing money. I find that too much of a burden.
Incidentally, we also don't do that in the Celestial Church. We don't.
The offering is just once.
Well, not once, but decent enough, maybe 2-3 times. And then nobody is under any compulsion. There is no calling out. They just
like pass it around and you drop what you have.
Sure.
No, I think, I mean, it's a pity. What I must be honest with you. When I grew up, I had people like, I went to church occasionally with people like your first cousin, Benga Dada. Sometimes we go to Lobo. So I had a bit of a feel. Remember that in the 60s, there was a bit of a mix. My mom's first cousins were Pereiras, they were Catholics. My grandmother, Pa Pereira, was the elder brother of my grandmother. Pa Pereira was a knight of the Catholic Church. My grandmother was Olori Awon Alasalatu in somewhere in Sule. I mean, and so we went in between. It's not like now that you have all these distinctions. So you were able to see things grow. But somewhere along the line, everything just went commercial, and then that's what you have. You have what you have. That's a story for another day. Now, one of the things that also bothers me is that I seem to think that once a church has some spiritual, I want to use the word carefully now, what I call spiritual inclination, once you have a system that allows people to prophesy and whatever, in these times, especially in these times of severe poverty, you could run into a problem. Do you agree? Do you understand what my question is?
I understand. I'm a prophet, remember.
Do you two you see?
Oh, sure.
Have you ever seen anything? You can say, I have nothing to hide. Have you ever seen anything concerning me?
Of the air, I'll let you know.
To say it now, let everybody say it now or forever.
But you're very correct. The biblical provision for what you have just spoken about is that prophets should not discharge their gift for commercial purposes.
Commercial purposes.
The Bible says specifically, freely were you given, freely so discharge. So any prophet in any church today who is doing prophecy for money, Christians should not make themselves victims of such people. It does not matter what they tell you. That is a clear sign that there's something godless about this person. Because you know what? A juju man who has nothing to do with Christianity can even see sharper visions than the prophet. Of course. So the fact that somebody can see does not mean that that person truly represents God for you. But so you've got to be careful.
You're a prophet. I'm just intrigued. How do you see? Do you have a voice that tells you something?
There are at least 6 ways in which the Lord communicates with a prophet. One is visuals.
You see like you're watching some...
Honestly, that clear.
Okay,
Second is audio.
Voice.
Third is, yes, you hear it. And what you hear, you say.
That's the second.
That's the second.
What's the third?
The combination of both. You hear as well as see.
But if you see, it's like watching television with the volume down. So if you see
it's
and
not,
you hear,
it's not the same. If you are capable of seeing visual images and hearing no sound, and I'm capable of seeing both, I will have more details than you would in giving prophecy.
Okay, that's
the fourth one is intuition. In Pentecostal churches, they call it word of knowledge, intuition.
But I have that. But I have that. I have a sense of
everybody dreams. Some people have intuition, but as a prophet, you operate in the office. So you turn your gift into a skill.
Do you think that I'm a prophet? Because seriously, I have that. From childhood.
You know, if you do not focus on a gift and you do nothing about it,
then you are not a prophet.
You don't grow it.
How do you know I didn't grow it? I said I have it.
If you grow it, you'll be able to...
do you have to be a Christian to have it?
You don't get me. Don't get argumentative about this one. It's a gift.
I'm just asking. I want to know.
If you have the early signs of that gift, my question is, what have you done about it? The Bible says...
No, I'm not talking about that. I said, am I a prophet?
No, you're not.
I'm not. That's all. If you say I'm not, I'm not.
But you could become if you're that inclined.
I could become, but I'm not.
Right. Yes, we know you're not.
Because there was a story I heard many years ago of a guy, he is a masquerade. Ubekun was masquerade. And all of a sudden, he took off all the masquerade, whatever, and started prophesying and became a Celestian. Check that out. That was about 15 years ago.
I've seen stark, raving, mad people.
Yes. Indeed, for those who see, sometimes it appears as if they're a bit abnormal.
It could be, yes.
It could be.
Someone like Nostradamus, who was not even a Celestian. He became a recluse.
Maybe I'm a Nostradamus.
No, you're on air, you're not.
But I experienced something one time. Is it true that when somebody is prophesying in the Celestial Church, it's usually good to get somebody to, I don't know how to translate it into English. You won't get one called Badogba, just to be sure that, what he's saying is that true? Is that...
Okay, the Bible recognizes that if you're a newbie in a gift, you will need somebody higher than you to prop you up. Yes. And then after a while, you graduate. You're free. You now know. Look at. I don't know if you know the story of priest Eli, who mentored Prophet Samuel as a babe, and then Samuel became one of the most significant prophets in the Bible. So that happens.
I have just 1 minute to go.
How time flies.
I was going to ask you about speaking in tongues, but I have to leave the stage for Collins to come. So next time you come, which will be pretty soon, that's where we'll take off from. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I love being here with you.
It's always fun talking to you, both on and off air.
That's right.
The thing I like about you is that you are so accommodating of my inquisitive excesses. I know I like to draw things to a complete conclusion. And we will continue our talk on that. So that's where we'll end it for today. I've been speaking to Dr. Kule Hamilton, who is a pastor, and is a supreme evangelist, right?
Superior.
Superior is different from supreme. Okay, superior evangelist of the Celestial Church and a journalist. And we've had a well-rounded discussion, which the rest of what we would have spoken about we'll keep for another day. Tomorrow is Diabumi. Now, tomorrow's Diabumi, I'm going to start here tomorrow's Diabumi with two people, two enfant terribles. Okay, there's Femi Bucknor. Femi Bucknor is the son of the late Captain Wale Bucknor. Now, if you knew Captain Wale Bucknor, you'd look forward to if it's anything like his dad, you look forward to it. And then the best person that I feel could face him on that is our own Titi Mogaji. So tomorrow we're in for all kinds of bombs. I try and keep them under control as much as I can. We're going to catch a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Collins, for producing me. And thank you very much, Philip. For the first time I'm seeing you be out of that pillar. He's not had it, he's gone back on behind the pillar again. There he goes. Dr. Hamilton, can I walk you out of the studio, if you don't mind?
Thank you very much.
Do you have any message for? No, we can't because time is gone. It's 9:55.
I just said thank you.
Just say thank you. Okay. Collins, over to you. I'm out of here. Bye.
You're listening to Jimi Disu right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info.